What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here with The Distance. I got a video for you guys this afternoon. Mayweather versus Pacquiao, Development Hell Part 4. The signing and history. Now, as we all know, by July 16th, 11:59 p.m., Floyd Mayweather has that deadline until he has to sign the contract to face Manny Pacquiao. And I'm very sure that I'm sure that Mayweather should sign the contract by that time. Maybe he's pushing the envelope. Who knows? But anyway, along with this fight, I believe, this is my opinion, I believe that this fight should happen this year. And evidently, with the November 13th date, this is the only time that this fight can happen in 2010. And if we wait much longer, then more than likely some of the anticipation is going to die down, and like many people, a lot more people are going to lose hope in this matchup, about this matchup happening. And also with this fight, we haven't really seen a top-ranking Golden Boy in their promotional card together, all year. So I think it would be interesting to kind of do the pay-per-view kind of top rank versus Golden Boy type deal, but that's least likely to happen. I think it would be interesting with pretty much the controversy that's gone on with both of the promotional banners, especially with the lawsuit from Manny Pacquiao, and whether it was a lawsuit or not. Me personally, I'm not even sure if it was a lawsuit. But who knows? But with all that stuff going on, I just think that if this fight is signed, I think that it should be a top rank versus Golden Boy type card. But it's not, more than likely that's not going to happen. And also with this fight, this is perhaps one of the biggest fights that can be made. I think, and me personally, I think second to that would be Vladimir Klitschko versus David Haye. That's another fight. That's probably the second most anticipated out of every fight that's made, but it's not on that same level as this specific fight. Now, all the YouTube channels are starting to talk about. A lot of the YouTube channels are starting to talk about, Pacquiao Mayweather and negotiations and all the other stuff that I've touched on. And now today's the day where the fight has to be signed, or it's kind of an all or nothing situation. So me personally, I do believe that Manny Pacquiao has an opponent in case Mayweather does not sign up for the fight, and it could be either Cotto or Margarito. Possibly we could see them fighting on the undercard. But it's like, who else can Manny Pacquiao face? And more than likely, those front runners are Antonio Margarito and Miguel Cotto. But a rematch with Cotto wouldn't generate the numbers as this specific fight would, because it's kind of a been there, done that. And against Margarito, it could probably do okay, but more than likely, you could even have Floyd fans on Pacquiao's side in this matchup against Margarito. But other than those two, who else can he face? He's not going to face Andre Berto. He's not going to face Timothy Bradley or a Devin Alexander. Definitely not Amir Khan. None of those guys at 140. He's not going to face them. He's not going to. I highly doubt he's going to move up to 154 unless he wants to fight Miguel Cotto. So, that's that. And with Floyd Mayweather Jr., we could see him move up and weight and fight Sergio Martinez or maybe Andre Berto. If this fight doesn't get signed, I highly doubt that Floyd Mayweather will fight a top-ranked fighter like a Cotto or definitely not Margarito. We could even possibly see him against Paul Williams, but that's highly unlikely, but a possibility. But with all these other fighters that I've named, these fights wouldn't draw the numbers that Cotto and Pacquiao would draw right at this moment. On November 14th, the world was watching when Manny Pacquiao pretty much went in the ring and defeated Miguel Cotto for another world championship, for his first welterweight world championship, or welterweight title. I can't say championship, I'm going to say title. When he became a welterweight titleist. And at the same time, the world was kind of waiting for Floyd Mayweather to come out, and say something, and waiting after the fight for Pacquiao to call him out. And Pacquiao didn't necessarily call him out, and kind of left it in the hands of Bob Arum. And so that was that. But there's just so much controversy going around with this fight, so many different opinions, so many different views, so many, it's like when I heard about, after Mayweather versus Mosley, it was just like the saga continues, and you put the little periods behind it, because really we don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 hours. We don't know what's going to happen, and also, just think of history. This is the fight that's going to put both of them in. This is another historic fight. I can't say this is the fight's going to put them in history, because the record books, Mayweather and Pacquiao, are pretty much going to be sure shot Hall of Famers, with no doubt in my mind. And the winner of this fight is going to be 2011's ESPY Fighter of the Year, the winner of this fight, even though that award means nothing. And also, this could even mean that, and this is another award that really isn't much, but to me, but could be another Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year. But when you think of this fight, think of these scenarios. Think of 1992, Iron Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield. How much of, would it be a different fight? How big would that have been in 1992 compared to 96? Now, don't get me wrong, in 96 it was a huge fight, but in 92 I think it would have been much bigger. Or if Tyson defeated Buster Douglas, how huge would that fight be? And also Lennox Lewis versus Evander Holyfield, maybe 95, 96. Maybe a couple years earlier, or after Holyfield defeated Tyson, how big would that fight have been? Or say another fight I could think of is, just imagine if Roy Jones fought Joe Calzaghe in his prime, or Bernard Hopkins fought Joe Calzaghe in his prime. Or in 2002, Roy Jones Jr. and Bernard Hopkins would have faced each other. And also, you have fights that happen at the right time, at the right moment in the fighters' careers, like Arguello Pryor, Gaddy Ward, Morales Barrera. These are fights that happen at the right time, and this is the right time for this fight to happen, because both fighters are at that point, or I believe at that point in their career, to where anything can happen. Possibly reflexes can go, or whatever, or they may kind of wear down. They're at that age and point where that could possibly happen. So this is, both of them are not, both of them, in November, their last fights, they didn't really get bumped or bruised that much, despite Pacquiao, did have a little bit of bruising on his face. Mayweather kind of getting rocked. They both didn't have any major injuries, as I mentioned. So this is the perfect time for this fight to happen. And November 13th, both these fighters should settle the score between each other. Is Mayweather going to sign the contract? I don't know. I think that there's a 50-50 possibility that he will, 50-50 possibility that he won't. Who knows? So maybe Mayweather's pushing the buttons, but we'll know 11:59 or before 11:59 tonight. So anyway, guys, that was Distance. Thanks for watching these videos. Peace.